Right, let's go for a Norwegian 4x4. We're going to do a 1k warm up on about 10 kilometers per hour, and then we're going to do a 1k sprint followed by a 500 meter jog for 4 sets, and we're going to do a 1k warm down, and that's going to complete on a Norwegian 4x4. So we're going to start off relatively easy on about a 10k pace for the first 1 kilometer. This is all about warming up, getting things going, getting myself ready to go for my first sprint. And when we get to my first sprint, I'm going to be running roughly around about 15 to 16 kilometers per hour for 1k. After which, I'm then going to take it back down to about 10 kilometers per hour for 500 meters, and then I'm going to repeat the process. So we're about 0.25 of a kilometer in at this moment. I'm going good. We're elevating my heart rate. I'm getting ready, preparing ourselves for the first sprint. And the reason we're on the curved runner today is because the curved runner was made for HIIT training. It was made for Norwegian 4x4s. And it's absolutely superb piece of kit for that. Right, let's carry on. It's a little bit of a warm up, and I'll check back in just before we hit the first kilometer. Right, we're about 0.9 of a kilometer in of the warm up. We're going steady. We're on about 10 kilometers per hour. I'm about to increase that to around 15, between 15 and 16. I'm going to keep that there for a kilometer, which should be roughly about 4 minutes. And then after which, we're going to bring it back down to 10 and jog for 500 meters. Let's go. Let's go. Start that a bit hot. Let's control it now. Between 15 and 16. It's always difficult to start whenever you're here and to pace yourself. It's for good reason. Whenever I've done runs in the past and I've gone up too hot, I've always struggled for the remainder of my run. Maintaining a good pace between 15 and 16, bringing that heart rate up. And about a quarter of the way into the kilometre, keep pushing, trying to focus my breathing, trying to keep my foot. I'm probably going to be quiet. Maybe. So that's halfway, 0.5 of a kilometre done. Heart rate's gone up, breathing is accelerated. One more stretch. Last 400 metres, I like to imagine I'm on a running track. I've got 400 metres to go. 100 meters to go before we get to our run now. And that's the kilometre. Right, let's bring you right back down. Let's get it right down. So around about 10 kilometres per hour. Ease ourselves out of it. Let's get our breath back. Get the heart rate down. It's kicking in already. One down, 3 to go. For the first break, I don't really like to towel off. I'll drink my water. Those are rewards for the second and the third break. For the first one, I just like to push you. Right. 1, 2, 5, a quarter gone, a quarter left before we go again. After this set, or interval, we're going to be over halfway. Let's bring my heart rate right down, slow it down a bit. I'm getting a bit excited, one bit quicker than I want to be. And after this next sprint interval, my reward is a towel off. Right, 100 meters to go before we go into the next push. Heart rate is around 152, 151. It's about to shoot back up. Pretty warm in the garage today, so everything's going to be that much more difficult. And here we go. 1K. Too fast, slow it down. Hit around 16, let it dip to 15, accelerate if we see 14 on the dial. Be quiet for a bit, and then I'll check in when we just got 400 meters left. Right, 400 meters left over a racetrack. We're about 15 minutes in, still feeling strong. Quarter of the way to go, or 250 meters. Let's keep it up. Meters left. and slow down, and slow down, and so. Right. Oh. Oh, it's hard in here today. Oh. Right. Heart rate. I put 177 for that interval. I'm probably going to finish on 182 or even 186 on the last. But in the meantime, we've got 400 meters. Bring it right down. Let's bring it right down. 10 kilometers per hour. 300 meters left. Heart rate's in the mid 160s. Let's try and get it to low 150s before the next interval. And also, we're just over halfway. So we're on the second half of this workout, which in this heat it's proven to be a little bit tough. Less than 200 meters before we start the next run. Still not consuming any water at this point. Just trying to cool myself down and manage the sweat. We're in the low 150s, just about 100 meters left to go for the next interval. That's where we want to be. Let's see what we spike up to again on this next one. 30 meters left. Let's go. Halfway into the 1K. Still between 15 and 16. We're at 177 on heart rate. Keep pushing now to the final 400 meters. Here we go. Last quarter, we're 250 left. We're in the 180s on heart rate. 181, 182, 200 meters left. Meters left. Oh, and slow it down. Oh, oh, sweat's getting to me. Oh, 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 oh. Last one down. Last interval. We got up to 183 on heart rate. I suspect the last interval is going to see us push between 186 and 188. I might take just a sip of my drink before the last one. Nothing special, just a little bit of water and electrolytes. Right, 300 meters left. Around about 10 kilometers per hour. We're in 170. Need to get that down into the 150s. It's 24 minutes in, if anybody's wondering. Last interval left. Last interval will take us through 6.5 kilometers in total, after which I'll do another 1k warm down on the back end before walking my heart rate right back down. We're in the 150s, let's see how low we can get it. So I've got 100 meters left. One last towel off. Just dipping slightly below 10 because I'm tired. That's good. Get it back up. $50 meters to go for the last sprint interval. Okay, let's go. Starting off good, keeping my form. Not quite hitting the 16s as much as I was, dipping into the 14s more often than I'd like. Here we go, last half kilometre now, last push. Just try and stay strong. Meters, I'm on my race track. Meters left. Let's keep it about 50 into the 16s. Last 100. So, and time. We got up to 187 on the heart rate. We're just over 30 minutes on the clock. 6.5k on the distance. We'll go to 7.5 on the jog and then into a warm down. Still keeping it on 10 kilometers per hour speed, but it's absolutely dipping into 9. Just because how tired I am and how hot it is in here. You've heard the term running from treacle or running stuck in the mud. That's what it feels like in this humidity. This is where I like to imagine I've just gone past the start and finish line on a running track and I'm just running that first 100 or jogging, not running along that bed. Oh. 300 meters left, or what I like to call the victory lap out on the track. So I'm running the back 100 and waving to the crowd. Just like my YouTube followers, there's only about 3 of you there. 200 meters left. We've got to run that far bend like Michael Johnson. Feeling a bit stronger now. My heart rate's down to 154, 153. So I feel like I can pick up the pace slightly without too much impact. Which means still just over 10 kilometers per hour in terms of speed. Right, last 100. This really is the home straight. Coming in, focusing on that finish, focusing on my warm down, keeping my heart rate below 160, 150 if possible. Thinking about toweling down and taking a drink. 10 meters left on this warm down. 36 minutes on the clock. So at 159, 157, 155, 152. Really dropping now. And time. Oh, right. Warm down time. I'll give myself 3 minutes, which will take me to 39 minutes. I'm walking around about 6 kilometers per hour pace. My heart rate 159 will soon start to drop. Oh. So that's the 4x4, the Norwegian 4x4 complete. So while we've got just over 2 minutes, a little bit about the Norwegian 4x4 and why we do it and what it does for you and why it's so difficult. So without having researched this or looked it up, I'm assuming it's exactly what it says on the tin, the Norwegian training method. But it's specifically the Norwegian training method to increase what we call your VO₂ max. Now the VO2 max, some people think, is the best or one of the best markers of fitness. Now, you can go online and you can look up the VO2 max chart, and it will give you age ranges and numbers for VO2 max, ranging from in the 20s to somebody that does little to no exercise whatsoever, right up to the high 75s, 80s, and I'm sure beyond, for the absolute elite 1% of the 1% athletes. Now, my age range typically goes from between 40 and 45, and I think it tells me that a good or an advanced VO2 max for somebody like myself is roughly around about 45. Now, as I've spoken before, I use the Polar H10 heart monitor, and when I measure my VO2 max on the heart monitor, it tells me that I'm above 60, sometimes even as high as 63, which is fantastic. Right, 3 minutes down, 2 minutes plod. So, what does that mean? First of all, it means two things: nothing and the other one. However, if you're consistently using your VO2 max as a measurement of fitness, maybe you're more of a cross-training athlete, a hybrid athlete, maybe you're a little bit bulkier with muscle mass, so timing your fitness in terms of running endurance might not be your thing, because you might like to do cardiovascular workouts and resistance training. And if that is the case, you can still measure your VO2 max and you can still use it as a marker of fitness. No doubt a lot of your cross training will be under what we call your zone 2 threshold, and if you watch the last video, you will know how that impacts your VO2 max levels. Stronger zone 2 or more exerted effort under your zone 2 threshold, in theory, equates to a better VO2 max. But it's not the only training you should do, which is why we do the 4x4. Now, how that impacts your VO2 max, as you can probably tell, it spikes your heart rate. And it spikes your heart rate to your max heart rate, or in theory it should. Now, I believe I reached 186, which, if I take 220 minus my age, which I'm 42, so that makes 178, I'm just about 10 beats per minute above the average heart rate for somebody of my age, which I believe means I'm in above average fitness category. So the Norwegian 4x4 spikes that 4 times, rests it 4 times. I believe a true 4x4 is high intensity for 4 minutes, rest for 4 minutes. Now, my high intensity is probably about 4 minutes. My rest is probably about 3 minutes. I don't know what impact that has. That's how I like to do it. So in theory, if you do, or if you can, get 2 Norwegian 4x4s in a week, and if you can, get 3 zone 2 sessions in a week. I know that's 5 different workouts in a 7-day week, but some people are able to work out before work in the morning, before the house gets up. Me, I would recommend you do your zone 2 at that time in the morning. And I would recommend, if you're going to do Norwegian 4x4, that you do it later on in the afternoon, after you've fueled your body with the correct nutrients and you've hydrated beforehand. So, if you can do 5 sessions per week, 3 zone 2s, 2 4x4s, you will absolutely on a consistent basis see your fitness increase. You will see your weight drop, not necessarily muscle mass, but a little bit, but mainly body fat, which I think is what a lot of people are looking for. It's not easy. It takes effort, and it's not just training, it's nutrition and sleep. And as to coin a very popular phrase on the internet, you can't outrun a bad diet, but you need all three: workouts, training, correct nutrition, correct sleep. And if you do all three consistently over an 8 to 12 week period, you will change your life. And if you don't, I can only apologise and invite you to come and train with me, and let's do it properly. But for now, I think I'm done with this. My heart rate's back down below 140, I'm on 137. By the way, this heart rate monitor is connected via what we call ANT Plus, which I think stands for Antenna Plus, I'm not quite sure. So therefore, it's able to display my heart rate. That's 44 minutes on the clock. That's telling me 1450 calories. I think my H10 will tell me that's probably closer to about 550, 600 calories. I never trust the machines. Right, thank you.